so I hit start recording, and then I'm going to share my desktop. We're going to try it in that order. Or I wonder if maybe I just click away from the screen too fast. I don't know. Okay, so it definitely says sharing. So we're going to go starting in PowerSchool. Remember, or Canvas, remember to click on the attendance link and fill out your attendance today. Clicking on the e-learning button, you'll see that we are going to do the second half of the 7-5 lesson. This one's called Surface Area Using Formulas. We're going to take notes in our notebook again, and there will be a quizzes activity to complete, and I will give you the code for that at the end of the lesson. Okay, so let's get this PowerPoint open and loaded. If somebody can just chime in that you can see the PowerPoint.
I can see it.
Okay, so we're 7-5 day 2, and it's using a formula or formulas because they're different to find surface area of prisms and cylinders. There should be an S there. See, then I can go in and edit. Cylinders using formulas. I think I have OCD. Things have to be perfect. Okay, here we go. So remember from yesterday that the surface area of a rectangular prism is found, let me rephrase that. A rectangular prism is composed of 3 different sets of equivalent faces. And we talked about this yesterday, how they come in pairs. So if we use the image from yesterday, we had the top and bottom that were both blue. Those are identical rectangles. We also have the front and the back, which were yellow from yesterday. And then we have the left and right sides, which were red. And so because they come in those sets, we can use that concept to help us with a formula for surface area of a rectangular prism. And what you do basically, and you saw this a little bit yesterday in our calculations, but if you take 2 times the length times width, because there are 2, let's see which one's length and width, there are 2 blue, then you do 2 times the length times height, those would be both of the yellow, then you do 2 times the width times the height, those would be the reds, you would get the surface area for a rectangular prism. So you're basically taking length, width, and height, and you're multiplying them together, 2 of them together, every combination. So length times height, and then width times height. So there are 3 different combinations using 2 of those measurements. And then we double it. We're doubling it. This 2 in the front, the doubling comes because there are 2 of them. There's 2 blue, 2 yellow, 2 red. So we're going to practice that yesterday, We're going to practice that now using problems, a problem that we did yesterday. Okay, so I don't know how much of this you're writing down. Maybe at least write the formula down. And I think I have the formula on the other slides too. So if you don't get it here, you can get it on the next one. Yep, there we go. So yesterday we looked at this example and we talked about it as a net, and we looked at the 2 black rectangles and found their area, the 2 dark gray rectangles, and the 2 light gray rectangles. So I'm going to try to draw this. I didn't do a very good job first period. I'm going to do a little better job this period. I'm trying to draw this rectangular prism. So those 2 are the light gray. And I'm not using any kind of dotted lines right now to... Hey, that's pretty good. Okay, so maybe it's a little too far back. I don't know. Anyway, so we've got this rectangular prism. I was kind of using this as that front piece, and maybe this is the top and the bottom and the front again, but now these don't look very accurate. Although I don't think these look very accurate in general, because shouldn't this be the same length as this in that picture? Maybe that's a little short. Anyway, so I'm going to label 8 inches in the front as the length. I'm going to put an L in parentheses. I'm going to label 12 inches as the width in the back, and then 6 inches as the height. Once you have length, width, and height identified or labeled, then you can go ahead and just start plugging numbers into this formula, because that's literally what this is. We call this plug and chug. So, surface area. Again, I like to use the S and the A together. Some just use the A. We saw that yesterday. Sometimes we just use the S. So not to confuse anyone, right? So 2 times the length times the width plus 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the width times the height. Now, it's no secret here what the answer is, because we did this one yesterday. Most of your calculators probably don't have the ability to string this whole number in. 2 times 8 times 12 plus 2 times 8 times 6 plus 2 times 12 times 6. Your calculators probably won't do order of operations correctly. You could always test it to see if it works or not. But 2 times 8 times 12 is 192 plus 2 times 8 times 6 is 96 plus 2 times 12 times 6 is 144. So now we're just going to add those numbers together. 192 plus 96 plus 144. And we do, in fact, get the same answer from yesterday, 432 inches squared. Remember, we're dealing with area, so we're squaring our units. So that's the first example. That's from yesterday. And this is just showing us kind of using this formula instead of breaking each one of those down and adding them all together. It gives you a little bit of a shortcut. You kind of cut out having to calculate the area of one of those rectangles. And I think yesterday someone might have even asked if we could multiply that number by 2. I can't remember. But that's how this formula comes about. Let's look at the next one. If you want to try to jot this prism down real quick and label it so that you have a reference when if you need to go back and use your notes. But we have this rectangular prism, and I'm going to label that front. 11 centimeters as the length, 5 centimeters as the width, and we have 6 centimeters again as the height. Okay, so let's plug into our formula. Surface area is going to equal 2 times 11 times 5 plus 2 times 11 times 6 plus 2 times 5 times 6. So I'll go ahead and give you a minute to see if you can get the right number. Don't say anything yet out loud. I was just looking to see if anyone had typed anything. Whoops. Anyone want to share their answer?
I got 302 centimeters squared.
Okay, let me check. I forget what the answer is. 2 times 55 plus. Yeah, that's what I got. So this is 110. This is 132. Is that right? Yeah. And this is 60. 302 centimeters squared. So just given the length, width, and height in an image where the rectangular prism is in its shape and not as drawn as a net, we'll use this formula. Yesterday, remember, we were drawing nets, and this kind of cuts out having to do that. So now we're going to go on. We've done some surface area practice yesterday of a prism, and we've done 2 now with the formula. Now we're going to look at a cylinder. So when we look at a cylinder and we think about what it's composed of, so what is a cylinder made of in its surfaces? Think about how a rectangular prism is made up of 6 rectangles. So what is a cylinder made of, or what would its net look like if you tried to cut this open or unwrap it and lay it out flat? Does anybody have any ideas what
I
it's
have an
out of?
idea.
What do you think, Eli?
I think it would be 2 circles and then a long rectangle, because
Yeah.
if you turn a rectangle into a circle, it makes a cylinder.
Yeah, right. So think about like a piece of paper. If you curve a piece of paper around and try to get its sides to line up, you have created exactly a cylinder. So when you unfold that, or I tell students to think about a soup can label. If you were to cut a soup can label vertically down the soup can and open it up, it creates a long rectangle. Perfect. So what we have to remember about a cylinder is that because it has circles, thank you. Because it has circles, we're going to use area of a circle, and we're also going to use circumference of a circle to help us with this formula. So the question is, how do we derive the formula? How do we derive the formula from this image? So the surface area S of a cylinder is the sum of the area of its bases, right? We're adding the area of all of the shapes that are on the surface. So it's 2 circles and a rectangle. The area of a circle is pi r squared, right? Pi r squared, we know that. Where does this 2 come from? Well, it comes from the fact that there are 2 circles, right? So we're just doubling. We're finding the area of a circle and doubling it because there are 2 of them. So that part of the formula takes care of the circles. Then you're going to add the area of the rectangle. Remember that a rectangle is usually length times width, but when we're talking about this cylinder, we have some different labels. So the width of this rectangle is actually the same as the height of the cylinder, right? Imagine that soup can label or that rolled up piece of paper laid out flat. Then 2 pi r. 2 pi r is something we haven't done for a while either, but does anybody remember what 2 pi r is in relationship to a circle? What does that give you if you multiply 2 times pi times r?
The radius.
Yeah, no, not the radius. Sorry, not the radius.
Diameter or circumference?
Circumference.
Yeah, circumference.
there we
I
go,
heard
Eli.
you were going to say it. So it tells you this. Imagine that piece of paper. If I cut it right here and I open it up, right? I open this up. Let me try to show like opening it up, flattening it out, right? I'm stretching it out so that it's straight, this circle piece here. Then you discover that the length of that rectangle is actually the circumference of the circle. So in order to find the area of that long rectangle, we have to do length times width. Well, the length is the circumference and the width is the height. That's where this comes from. So here's your formula that I want to make sure you get written down in your notes. Whoa, just kidding. Surface area, and this is a cylinder, it's 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. And I don't know why my taskbar is down there today. It's in the way. Now, what is that? Oh. 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. And we're going to do a couple of examples. Again, if you're not 100% sure where some of those terms came from and why they're going in this formula, don't worry so much about that. Today, really, our focus is that we can get numbers plugged in where they go and we can calculate the formula correctly. Also, while we're talking about it, on your Canvas quizzes, you were asked to round to the nearest tenth, and you were also asked to use 3.14 for pi. We're going to continue to do that today. Some of you might have noticed an adjustment in your score on that Canvas quiz, and I had to go back in and kind of hand grade a lot of the ones that you missed because you didn't round correctly, and so Canvas counted that wrong because your answer didn't match exactly what ours was. So I just want to make sure that you're really following the directions. Only use 3.14. Even if your calculator has a pi button, it will give you a different answer. You'll end up rounding. It'll just be off by a little, but anything is going to count it wrong on Canvas. And then also that you're rounding correctly. Okay, so let's put this into practice. We've got the formula here, and we have our net of a cylinder. This cylinder has a radius of 4 feet and a height of 6.2 feet. So we're going to use those numbers to See, why did that turn red? Did somebody leave or join, or I don't know. Okay. We're going to use that height and that radius to plug into the formula. So here we go. Surface area equals 2 times 3.14. The radius is 4, and remember that number is getting squared. Some of you might already just automatically put 16 there. That's fine. 2 times 3.14 again, times the radius of 4 times a height of 6.2. So again, we've got all the numbers in the right spots. Now we just need to crunch out our answers. So you're going to grab your calculator. Two times 3.14 times 4 times 4 is 100.48. Multiplying 2 times 3.14 times 4 times 6.2 gives me 155.744. Now I want you to notice that I have not done any rounding yet. You should not round until the very end. So 100.48 plus 155 and 744 thousandths is 256.224. Okay, now I need to round. We're asked to round to the nearest tenths. That's the first decimal place. So I look behind that 2, and you'll see another 2. 5 or greater causes me to round up. Less than 5, and I can stay the same. So we're going to stay the same. And it's feet squared, right? We square units when we talk about surface area. So again, this is a pretty funky formula, and where these pieces come from, you know, they do make a lot of sense. There's 2 circles, so I have 2 area of a circle, and I have the circumference times the height, which is how that rectangle gets created. Are there any questions on this? We're going to do one more. And then remind me at the end of this to talk about an email that got sent out today. Okay, so here's your cylinder. Here's your formula. I'm going to give you, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. I would like you to try to calculate the entire surface area of that cylinder and see how you do. Don't share any answers yet. Who was that? Was that Nathan? Dallas? Who was that? That was creepy. Okay, all I'm going to do, keep working, all I'm going to do is plug in numbers. Make sure we got the right numbers in the right spot. Or was it Gage? It might have been Gage. Or maybe it was a girl. I don't know. I can't tell. It's so weird trying to hear. I think boys sound like girls and girls sound like boys because you can't see, so it plays a trick on your mind, so I apologize. Okay, that's what it should look like in terms of plugging in numbers. 2 times 3.14 times 5 squared plus 2 times 3.14 times 5 times 10.
What do we do once we have the answer?
You stop. Wait a minute. What, Leo?
Forget the rest of the song. Oh, frick.
Well, the next part's not appropriate. Fill my cup, put some liquor in it. You know that song?
Yeah.
Miss Herbst, did you see our neighborhood video?
I did. That was so cool. That was really cool. It's 9:38. We have 22 minutes, and I'll be done with these guys in about 5.
Twice.
That was that song, wasn't it, Mercy?
Yeah, it was.
It was Bruno Mars. Leo and I have been singing. What song we?
Twice, and one of the families poured water on the dad.
What is it? What's the helium song? Ugh, it's like our favorite song right now, and neither one of us can think of it. Our favorite song right now is, wait, let me go to my library. It's got to be like one of the today's hits. It does. Sunday Best. Feeling stressed. Wait, how's it go?
Oh, I know it.
Sing it. Feeling good. Yeah, there we go. That's what. No, not right now. That's what Leo and I have been singing, that song. We love that song, Sunday Best.
Can I just do it?
Not right now. Not till I'm available. Okay, so who has what the first chunk of numbers equals? Who has what 2 times 3.14 times 5 squared is?
I do.
Okay, what is it, Eli?
157.
Everybody agree? You should agree, because that is correct. Somebody else, give me the next one. Who's outside? I hear birds chirping. Oh, that might be Nathan. Are those just Nathan's birds? Or is somebody actually sitting outside? Do you hear birds chirping? I hear birds chirping. Anybody? Bueller? Bueller, what's the answer to the next one?
I hear the birds chirping, but...
They're not me. I'm inside. Okay, fine. This one's 314. So 157 plus 314, we're not going to have to round here, is 471 centimeters squared.
That's what I was going to say.
That's what you were going to say, 471. Leo says that's what he was going to say. So, any questions on that?
How did you just slip that in your computer?
It has a spot for it. Anybody have any questions? Okay, please. I am not finished. I need you to walk away, please, until I'm done. Thank you. All right, so if there aren't any questions, then let me go down here. So your homework tonight or today is a quizzes activity, surface area of prisms and cylinders. Here's the code 822286. Please write that down. Last week I had several of you do the wrong quizzes and not everyone redid it again. So that got put in as a 0 if you did the wrong one because I reached out to you twice to try to get you to correct it and messaged you on Skype, sent you emails, but I didn't hear back from everybody. Nope, not everybody redid it, so 822286 is your quizzes code. And I am not going to save that. Not right now. Okay, back here. Stop sharing. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? We're doing okay with this stuff? I think tomorrow there's going to be a quiz of some sort, so we may or may not be live. What were you supposed to remind me? Somebody was supposed to remind me of something.
Your email that you got?
Yeah, the emails that you sent out.
So I sent out an email today to all 7th graders on our team. I sent out 3 different emails, so there are 3 of them. The first email was, if you're in Math 7, that you take pre-algebra next year. The next email could have been, if you're in pre-algebra, I recommended you for algebra. The third email was, there are a handful who are in pre-algebra that I'm recommending retake pre-algebra for various reasons. So make sure you find that email today and you have that discussion with your parents regarding what math class you want to take next year. I will share a couple of things. Those of you who are considering algebra, please remember that algebra is a high school level course. It is a freshman level math course. You earn high school credits. You earn high school credits by taking it. So you have to be, confident that you think you're going to do well, and honestly, I think most of you would. But remember that your work ethic, the amount of homework you have, that's probably going to be your hardest class next year, I would guess. That's what most students say. And it's more just from the quantity of work because it's high school level. So all 3 of the 8th grade math teachers teach it, so you could, you can still get put on any team. But I just want you to, if you feel like, I don't know. I feel like most of you have the work ethic to be able to get it done. So have that conversation with your parents. Hey, she's recommending me for algebra. This goes on high school transcripts. I think I can do it. I know I can do it. So that, I think there's going to be some more stuff coming out from Mr. Deming today about how they're going to start scheduling